are trading against yourself.
Sure, they were paying me well, it was comfortable, but there was no real growth, you know what I mean?
It was actually a turning point, but don't tell anyone, right?
I realized there's a bigger opportunity cost by staying there.
Actually, I remember as a business developer, you tried to convince me, okay. Hello everyone, I'm Masoud Hamidian here, and today we have Ali, and we are gonna dive into the financial markets, personal growth, trading, different ways of income, and we are gonna talk in details about how to be a disciplined person, how not to be dependent on motivational contents, dopamine, and so on. So today we have Ali. How's going everything, man?
Yeah, things have been good, man. I've been quite busy in the past few weeks. I'm always busy, honestly, but more so these weeks. Things are good. How are things with you?
Yeah, same here. Just tracking financial market, analyzing, trading, just mentoring other traders, and at the same time, it's a very packed and booked
I can imagine, man.
days nowadays. So Ali, we know each other since I think 2 years ago. The first time I met Ali, it was in our office. He came to Sheikh Zayed, and I met him on DIFC. The first time I met him, you came to me. Actually, I remember as a business developer, you tried to convince me. Okay, this is a very nice exchanger. I told myself, yes, of course it is very nice, but man, I'm trading indices, US indices, and at the same time I'm trading future market. Yeah. But it was actually a turning point for our relation, and we just met each other there, and step by step, gradually, we got to know more about each other till here.
Yeah, I was trying to sell, it's what we do, right? Listen, I knew you were working with indices and whatnot. You told me beforehand on text, but I still wanted to see maybe you have a crypto audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you never know. I had to ask.
Yeah, true.
But yeah.
Happy to be here. So Ali, I want you actually to talk about your journey in this industry. As you already know, for the audiences, we are working at the same industry but different fields. Your focus is mostly on the crypto, but my focus is mostly on the trading in the future market and stock market of the United States. So tell me more about your journey. It's very interesting for me how a person can leave a bank. I remember you were working in ADCB, I think.
Correct.
And you left there. I just want to know what was the reason.
Yeah, so I left the bank when I was 20. The main reason why I left was just I realized there's a bigger opportunity cost by staying there. Sure, they were paying me well, it was comfortable, but there was no real growth, you know what I mean? I thought if I wanted to grow, I might as well take bigger risks and jump into something completely different. And crypto is an emerging market, so I joined.
Okay. Actually, I'm always looking at crypto as a field with something like you can get or you can gain 10x, 20x annually, and it's not impossible.
No, not at all. It's actually expected, you know what I mean? If you make less than 10, it's funny because with crypto, no matter how much you make, you're still annoyed because you could have made more, No matter how much you make, it doesn't matter.
True. As a trader, actually, I've been in this industry for something like 5 to 6 years. I traded all the platforms, even sometimes I traded crypto, but don't tell anyone, right? But finally I realized traders in the financial markets, if they control the risk management, I'm talking about fund managers, like for example, me and my friends who are managing something like 2 to 3 AUM here in Dubai, our drawdown is very crucial. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the gain at the end of the year, hardly we can cross 20 to 25%, frankly speaking, because of the drawdown is limited by the investor. But on the other hand, when I'm looking at the crypto, there is a huge opportunity. For example, I remember Donald Trump meme coin. I have a friend, you already know him, Suhail. We talked about it. Mm-hmm. Suhail is into crypto. He's working in different VCs at the same time. And he just told me, Amir, because of the difference between the time zones, I purchased meme coin of Donald Trump by something like 2 to 3 hours delay.
Yeah.
But at the end, he gained a huge amount of return, only by a small investment. It was that time I told myself, oh man, it's the field for young people, motivated like you. And I realized why you left the bank. Because your mind is sharp. You don't like to I think, sit in a specific place, just giving your time to the employer and by the end of the month, I know you were receiving a good amount of salary, but it was not satisfying you,
No,
I think.
even if I received half the salary, I would have felt better if I got it myself. You know what I mean? It's like I remember when I was there, when I was still at the bank, I was selling ASIC machines, and I was making a profit of about $1,400 per machine. And selling one machine there felt better than the whole salary that I was getting at the bank. You know what I mean? Because it feels like it's coming from you. It doesn't feel like it's just been given to you. It's a different dynamic.
It means your main focus is just on personal branding,
Yeah.
just growing your brand, building the brand, making the connection and the relations. Okay, sounds nice.
It just feels better when you make it yourself, you know? It's very, very different when you put really hard effort into something and you get a return from it. It's way different than doing some boring job and then getting paid for it.
I got your point. Yeah, true. Actually, when it comes to white collar jobs, I'm just looking at the people, they have to work from 9 to 5. I'm not gonna blame anybody or anything else. No, everybody has his or her own plan, and we cannot even judge the people, by the way. But for the bank industry, I think the timing is even less than 9 to 5.
For me, because I was a local, it was 8 hours a day, 4 days a week. And then the fifth day, it was, I believe it was 3 hours? Yeah, 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
So
Although you had all of these opportunities, you
I still left.
told you, okay.
So
Okay.
we also had 25 days off a year, you know, and that's without counting vacations. Just 25 working days off. Still wasn't enough.
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. So Ali, actually for our audiences, I want to open the subject of personal growth. You know, as you, because I know you're also focusing on your journey, and it's very hard. It's very hard to find Ali outside of his home. Frankly speaking.
These days.
Yeah.
Unless you find me at some event. You'll probably see me at an event. Besides that, good luck.
Yes, exactly. So tell me, what can motivate you? First, I want to talk about, because I talk to different people before starting this podcast, and the main question always everyone is asking is how to be motivated for the length of the journey we are going, and how to be disciplined. But first, I want you to talk about motivation.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? And I'm sure other people give you the same answer. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline, right? But initially, what made me do this was I had a really rough time in my life, and I don't really want to get into details, but I had a really, really rough patch sometime in 2020, basically, right? Before I even joined the bank by a little bit. And that was also the same time I started going to the gym, I started reading books, I cut off social media for a month, and I changed everything. So for me, it was more so a bad event happened, and you know the saying of energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed.
Correct.
So I just put that energy into myself, you know what I mean? The gym and my mental state, I fixed everything since then, and I'm here today.
Nice.
And from this point onwards, I'm not even motivated, man. For me, at this point, because I'm doing sales, every time I close a deal, you get this dopamine, right? You get
Yeah, I know.
It's a different kind of dopamine.
It's a kind of drug for salespersons.
It's
I
very
know.
addictive. It's very addictive.
Yeah, it's very addictive.
People say a salary is the world's most addictive drug, right? Because you're working for 30 days, you're tired, you get a salary, you feel happy, and then it's the same cycle. But with sales, it's different because it can happen today, it can happen tomorrow, it can happen 3 days later. You don't know when.
And there's no limitation.
No,
For sales teams.
for growth, no. It can just keep going up, right? It depends
Yeah.
on how much work you put in.
Yeah, true.
So my goal is currently just shoot as many shots as I can, and then hope some of them land. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, that's the plan.
Sounds like a plan. Nice. Actually, from my side, it was actually same as you said. But you know, when I started my journey in trading, it was something like 6 years ago. And at the beginning, I just came into this industry just by luck. Maybe you cannot even imagine. I have uncle. He just told me, Amir, you are good at math and calculation. Let's have a look for the financial markets. Just review what's going on. Like others, I started with technical. So, by the way, gradually I started to have a look in different aspects of trading and investment. You know, I studied finance and economy in
Yeah,
the
you told me.
university.
Yeah.
So, by the way, it just started, as you mentioned, with the motivation. At the beginning, it was very important for me to increase my dopamine by doing some activities like watching some motivational, I don't know,
Yeah, the
reels on
TikToks and
Instagram
videos,
or
yeah,
YouTube. Yes. But after some period of time, I just told myself, if I'm not going to watch those reels because of the dopamine level, I'm not motivated enough
To do it. to do it yourself.
to do it.
Same
Just to
idea.
do and lock the door and just be focused.
Yeah.
Then I told myself, okay, let's remove it. At the beginning, it was painful. You know, there were some days I was not even able to get out of the bed.
Withdrawal, right?
Yes.
It's like withdrawal from a drug. It's like when you
Exactly.
stop taking drugs, you need some time to recover.
Exactly.
Same idea.
Then how I replace it? I replaced this with doing some physical activities like swimming, like meditation. Meditation helped me a lot. Yes, gym, boxing. So after something like 6 months, I realized I don't need motivation. The motivation is just only in your brain. Just set a goal and look at the end of the road. Don't look at your journey during the road. Although some psychologists are talking about, I don't know, you need to enjoy your journey, you need to do that, you need to do that. Trust me, Ali. You already know. Trust me. If you want to be successful in your personal growth, you need to sacrifice yourself. You need to sacrifice, you need to remove so many things, like family gathering.
For me, I cut off everything, man.
Yeah.
Like I lost all the friends that I used to talk to. I say lost, but I don't really mean that. It's more like I cut them out. You know what I mean? When you're hanging out with the same type of people who are at that level and you start growing, you start having nothing in common. You know what I mean? So you just lose them over time. Either they get envious, they get jealous. The thing is, when you take a risk, right?
True.
And they don't, your success is a direct correlation to their failure. You know what I mean?
True.
Because they didn't take the risk. And they're thinking, what if I did what he did, you know? Even if they don't say it, they still think of it. They still feel it. So
True.
over time, that builds up, and at some point, they blow up on you. And it happened to me with all of my friends, honestly.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
No. not at
Yeah,
all. Not at
true,
all.
true. You know, for myself, I also faced what you said about the friends. And the most weird part was when I was trying to get to the higher level of the people in my industry in trading, and I already left
Yeah.
the previous people.
You have a level of
I was
limbo.
alone,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was an imbalance in my life. I was
100%.
pure alone, and you know, sometimes I was just going for walking alone. Maybe you cannot even imagine. I had different and several trips alone.
I understand.
I traveled alone. I ate alone. I was even watching movies alone. Nothing. I just locked the door. I told myself I have to concentrate. I have to learn this. I have to learn this. I have to learn this. And you know, in that period of time, I had just one mentor. He just told me you need to gain knowledge in these different things, and I just locked my brain on this. That's all.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I've been to China for the first. I mean, I went to China 4 times in total, and
I like to visit China, man. It's beautiful.
You haven't been yet? It's amazing, honestly. I mean,
I
don't
wish
know
I
if
could
this-
be there.
I don't want to be political, but it's great there, yeah. But anyway, the first time I went, it was because I wanted to meet these ASIC sellers, right? And again, I did the same thing alone, so I know exactly what you mean. I think everyone goes through that, you know. It's just a gap between your friends and who you're supposed to be friends with, kind of.
That's one.
And you have
That
a
is
gap in
very
between.
painful. That is very painful.
Yeah.
Because you know you're looking at yourself not as qualified as they are,
Not them, but you're also not on the same level as the guys.
and you don't like to return to the
No.
previous people.
No. I think that's the tipping point, right? It's
Yes.
like after you pass that point, then you're pretty much
Edge.
settled. you
That's
know?
exactly the edge.
Yeah.
You know, I realize most of the people in the personal growth path and just journey, they don't have the gut
To make that
to jump from that edge. And most of the people are holding themselves. It's like, for example, looking to the ground from either third floor or fourth floor.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the time when they're looking at it, no, I'm not that guy. But I jumped, you jumped, and so many people I know, they jumped and they faced something amazing.
I agree. I think the biggest problem in that jump is that they're too scared to let go what they have. You know, they think what they have is good because they're
Yes.
comfortable. I mean,
Safe
not-
zone.
Yeah, they're comfortable, but not enough to be happy. Or I don't want to say happy, but fulfilled. You know what I mean? They're comfortable enough to be able to survive and do what they need to do, but they're uncomfortable enough to want to change.
True.
So if you're in that position, what I would say is either decrease the comfort level you have or increase the discomfort. And this is all a mental game, right? Either prove yourself or to yourself, talk to yourself, show yourself why this isn't good enough for you and you want something better. Or just make it really uncomfortable. Cut off all your friends, put yourself in a room. That's an idea, right? It's all about comfort. And when people get comfortable, they get lazy. When they get lazy, nothing gets achieved. There was a saying, I think it's comfort is the killer of dreams or something.
Yeah, true.
It's true. It's 100%
Yeah,
true.
this is
Like,
definitely true. Yeah.
this is why people are doing ice baths. You know, it's the same idea. They want to do something uncomfortable first thing in the morning, so then everything else becomes easier. It's the same idea. It's just completely mental, nothing else. Yeah, so there's nothing like really passive to the meaning that you don't do anything about it. They're just less active and more active. You know what I mean? You're running a restaurant, for example, you still have to check up everything. Now, let's say you have someone else running the restaurant for you, right? You have someone else as a manager, you're no longer overseeing the thing. You still have to check once a week, once a month, and get reports. So there's no such thing as fully passive, even
Yeah.
if you're investing. You know, you would still check up on news, you would check up on you know, whatever it might be. Point
True.
is, there's a level of activity that's always there.
True. You know, and you know, Ali, I'm definitely agree with you because when it comes to mutual funds, I just want to talk about it. I just want to talk about it again. They are tracking financial markets, and top big mutual funds, or better say hedge funds, which are directly connected to, I don't know, to governments or tier one level, they are never ever selling anything they have. They're just purchasing more and more because of the inflation and so many other things. They are just purchasing. But some small mutual funds or some small private companies that their profession is investing, they are jumping in and jumping out.
Over and over.
Maybe it will take something like 5 to 10 years. Like, what was the name of that famous American investor?
Yeah, I forgot him. Wait, the guy who just sold all of his
Yeah,
stuff
he just
recently.
retired recently.
How did I forget his name? He was friends with Charlie Munger. Wait, let me think. Hold on. He was friends with Charlie Munger. What was his name?
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Right,
yeah,
right.
the owner of Berkshire.
Yes,
Hathaway,
exactly. So if you look at their portfolio, for example, they are with one stock, specific company. After 5 to 6 years or 10 years, they are just jumping out.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. Maybe it's gonna be a good result or a failure. They will accept it. They will literally quit. They're just quitting something like 99%, 98% of their assets and jumping to another company. And you know, we have also this in trading. When we are trading, we are tracking news, we are tracking speeches, we are tracking central banks, statements and minutes. And at the same time, we have to control our emotions. You know, controlling the emotions, gaining the control is the most crucial part of trading. In financial markets, you are not trading against the numbers or the other participants. You are trading against yourself.
100%.
If you lose your patience, if you lose your control, it will be definitely a failure. It doesn't matter how much you know, I don't know, to read financial statements. It doesn't mean how much you know to track economic indicators, to read it from the main source, or anything else. You need to be in the track.
100%. It's like they say, right? It's 99% psychology, 1% strategy, right? And it's
Yes.
true. It's definitely true. I agree.
Yeah. This is the last part of our podcast, Ali, and I want you to talk about different asset classes. Okay. Everybody knows how to diversify just by the words, most probably. So, as I know, there are some different asset classes like properties, like gold, silver, commodities, bond market, stock market. I want you to talk about crypto. In crypto, frankly speaking, I'm just investor. I just holding some BTC and Ethereum, but I want you to tell me about the different ways of investing in crypto.
And there are so many. There are so many things you can do. I mean,
Give us the top 3.
have you heard of DeFi before? Anything about DeFi?
Decentralized finance, right?
Yes,
I
so-
just heard the name.
Yeah. So for example, there's something you can do. Like you can buy some Solana and go to Camino, and you can stake it for 15% APY per year, and that staked Solana can be restaked again. It sounds fake, but it's very true. You know, and
nice.
you're getting a 15% return on your investment, not on your dollars, right? So let's say Solana is at $200, it goes to 400 within 1 year. So you're really getting 15% on the 400 total. See what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, I got you. Yes.
Yeah, so that's one way. If you're new to this industry, I would say just buy Bitcoin. Everything else, I mean, at least most other projects in this industry are basically scams. And it's quite hard to really like put your trust into something because I'm sure you've heard of stuff like the FTX collapse and Rugs and meme
Yeah, I
coins and
remember.
whatever. There's just so much. If you're new to this industry, just buy Bitcoin and stake it somewhere safe and just keep buying Bitcoin. Just don't stop and you'll be fine.
The second one,
That's-
because I tracked something on Binance, you know, I'm just curious about crypto. I'm just trying to find the different sources of income, extra incomes. So I checked on Binance. I realized that there is an option you can take loan on
Yeah.
of 80% of the total asset which you are keeping in Binance, I think it's type of staking, right?
Crypto loan.
Crypto loan, exactly. It's a crypto loan. And by the way, if the value of your asset is dropping more than 80, they will liquid your account, I think, or something like this.
Yeah.
But I realized one thing: if you mix the market cycle of crypto, there is a cycle also in crypto because all the participants are human, right?
A 4-year cycle.
So when we have human, it means we have emotions. By tracking their emotions, we can get to know the market cycle of crypto. I realized a specific technique, not very technique, it's just wise idea. I checked before. Taking loan when the BTC is dropping or Ethereum is dropping, something like FTX you mentioned collapse, right? It dropped to 17, I think, or $18,000 per BTC.
Yeah.
It was a very smart move to just to purchase BTC, put it, take the loan, purchase again BTC.
Yeah, while it's going up.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. But at this point, we're taking leverage, right?
It's a leveraging.
You might as well just buy futures long and then just do the same thing, you know?
True, but it's good for long time holders.
Yeah, of course, that is.
It's
something that works. It's
Yes.
something that works, yes.
Yes.
I want to do it.
Give us the third one, Ali.
A third what? Like
Yeah.
a third, Rowan, what was the question?
The third one, I asked at the beginning, the top 3 ways of investing or just gaining money from the crypto market. So you talked about staking, you talk about re-staking, now we talk also about taking loan. Just give us the last strat.
You can always steal from your friends. That always works. No, I'm not being serious. I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Just send your friends a Drainer link and just steal everything they have. No. But
Don't listen to this
No.
part.
the third part.
Don't do it at home.
Do not do this. Yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah, but honestly speaking, what you should do probably is look into work in the industry, because this isn't really investing, but it's more about making money in the industry, right? Because it's such a brand new industry. I mean, sure, it's 20 years, but for an industry this big, it's quite new. You know, look for work in the scene. Like, it's like if you were just a marketing agent, be a crypto marketer. If you were a designer, be a crypto designer. Just fix on that niche specifically and get very, very deep into it. And then when you do that, you can probably make a lot more than what you were doing before.
I think it's a nice technique. It's a smart move because I have a friend I told you his name is Sohail. He's working at same field you as a crypto, and you know what he's focusing right now? His main focus is crypto AI agents. Cool. And he left everything in crypto, and his main focus is on this because he was interested in crypto and at the same time AI agents. So he selected this field, and I think he's very successful. You know, I like your idea. If you are interior design, try to find some, I don't know, even if you're an engineer, try to find something related to crypto.
Yeah.
If you're a salesperson, be a business developer. Be a business developer in crypto.
Hey, there are other options too. You don't just have to be a business developer. You can help projects.
I think
funds.
he's just trying to keep his role safe.
No, actually, there is quite a. I mean, you can help projects raise funds, for example, right? That's a form of sales. You're not selling to people. You're selling to your investors. You could. I'm not really sure what else, but that's the first thing that comes out to my mind. Just don't be a BD. That's for me.
that's for Ali. That's for Ali. Just try to have different roles. Like I don't know.
There is enough of us in this industry. Yeah,
There's enough.
Trust me, the competition is high. I don't need more. Believe me.
Thanks, Ali, for being here today. It was my pleasure to talk to you and just share some insights. You know, I'm always looking at myself as a person who is just 25 years. Okay, and I just living this life for my first time, right? But at the age of 25, I'm just trying to find some people with the same mindset. It doesn't matter if their field is even different. They are trying to be a better person in the future. Okay, and it's very important. I like to connect with people whose mindset is mainly on personal growth, going to the next chapter. They're not even really competing with the others. They're just competing with themselves. They are trying to be a better person than yesterday.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Thanks. If you want to talk.
Yeah. Just thank you for having me, man. This has been great, and let's see more, man.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, soon enough.
And don't go for business development.
No, just don't be a baby, and don't steal from your friends, please.
Yes, yeah.
Just to be clear.
Thanks.